Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. This was an action-packed weekend for us.
We did lots of things. Well, you did more things, though.
Well, I did all of the things on all of the days. You only did 2 of the things on 2 of the days.
Yes.
You didn't do anything on one of the days.
Glorious, yes. I did nothing. I could have worn my Sloth shirt, and you couldn't have made a single comment about it.
Yeah, I could have, because when I came home, I would have said, see, you acted like a sloth. But is that a bad thing? Why do you think that seems... Why does it feel to me like you think that's a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I just think it's funny that you like to call my shirt a liar.
99.99999998% of the time, it is.
I have a shirt that says, Dear Diary, today I did nothing. And there's a picture of a sloth on it.
Yeah.
And it's super, super comfy.
It's cute, too.
But if I wear it on, like, hectic days, which are the days I like to wear comfy shirts the most, he makes fun of me.
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
there's nothing truthful about that shirt at that point. Nothing. Zero truthful. Zero of the truths. So, yeah. It is funny that we get into that. It is funny.
So what the heck did we do on Friday?
So Friday was kind of a quid pro quo day. Only I know I got the better end of the bargain as far as enjoying it.
I feel like we both enjoyed our ends of the bargain as much, but you also enjoyed my end of the bargain.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting though, because we went to see Facedown Fest the first night. There was 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. Different bands on the second night than the first night, of course, like a typical festival. And there was
a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
Was War of Ages not there on the second day?
Right.
That's why we went on Friday.
Different band on Saturday. And we had War of Ages that we went to see, really. But they were the headliners on Friday.
I didn't hate them. It's not something I would ever listen to for recreation, but I didn't hate them.
They're a really good band. Really good band.
And I would have to say all of the other bands that were there, well, except the second one, they were pretty cool, but only because they like got the crowd all excited.
Yeah.
And then that girl started taking her shirt off and being weird, and that was fairly amusing. Anyway,
This sounds so wrong.
I'll explain in a minute. The other bands all sucked. They were terrible. They were boring, or they were like louder than they should have been. I don't know.
Yes. But honestly, I've heard War of Ages sound better. The mix was the problem. It wasn't them. It was the mix.
Do you think they would have sounded better if you were like straight on facing them instead of being off to the side?
Maybe, but that still means the mix was off.
Because they sounded better when I went to sit on the bench rather than standing there.
Yeah. That just means the mix was off. It was still really good. What a good show.
So the girl.
So yeah, tell them about this girl who, quote, took her top off. It's not as exciting as it actually sounds.
No, it was hilarious though. Okay, so this girl. We get there and there's like the first band is playing and I comfortably have my earplugs in because I didn't really feel like going deaf. And she's just like hardcore dancing by herself. And she was the only one dancing. So all by herself, and she's kind of weird. And so every time the music would pause, she'd be like looking around with this like crazy manic look on her face. And so she was wearing like a...
I want to interrupt for a second. So far, what I would tell the listeners is that there is not a single word of what she just described that I would change if I were telling the exact same story. Like, I'm pointing out here that we literally saw the same thing and are regurgitating back what we saw.
And so she's just kind of plain looking. Like, if you saw her on the street, you wouldn't think anything either way. And she was wearing like a men's basketball jersey and like athletic shorts, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so, whatever, she's like hardcore dancing and then like looking around aimlessly. And then, so I've already said, the second band that came out was like way more crowd engaging. And they got like everybody all excited. And then so was lots of people dancing and doing scary, scary things. And she is like running around in a circle. And then all of a sudden, she's taken her shirt off and wrapped it around her fist. And she's like crazy dancing, but she's wearing like a not super supportive sports bra. So there's like, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but there was tits a flailing. Like they were everywhere. It was alarming. And she's got like her hand wrapped in her shirt. And so like every time one of the guys who was dancing like they were about to punch the shit out of somebody would come near her, she would like put it up.
White flag.
She would put it up like she was trying to protect herself. And then she was like jumping up on the stage while not wearing her shirt. And like, it was, I was amused.
It was funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're right about the weird look, but the part you forgot to tell them about was, you know, there's time in between when they're switching up the band's equipment for the next band. What did she do then?
She put her shirt back on. And then she was just like standing there staring people down.
Yeah.
Like she'd make eye contact with this like freaky little smile on her face. Like, I don't know. If that's how she makes friends, that's probably why she was there alone, because that was really alarming.
Okay, you know what it reminds me of?
The serial killer?
No, yeah, that, but also the way Bree interacts with Jazzy, because she knows she's bigger than Jazzy, but she's felt Jazzy's claws before.
He's sharp
more than once, so he hurts more. And she's too sweet to go the extra distance. You don't even have to worry about her. We just keep an eye on her and make sure she stays back from the cat. But what she does is she gets frustrated because the cat whops at her, and then she backs up and like makes these really weird guttural sounds, and then like lays down all playing with her toys because she's all frustrated. But you can see her constantly checking the cat out. Like, okay, I want him to come play with me, but he won't play with me. He's so mean to me. And she feels so bad about it. It's really funny.
I worry more that he's going to cause her harm than she's going to cause him harm.
Oh, I know. That's why I've been
little jerk.
You notice I've been reaching over and kind of petting him and calming him down, but he's into it with her tonight. It's really weird.
I took my glasses off. I can't see you at all.
That's good. I'm not much to look at. You know, but
he's a weird dude, people, just so that you're all aware.
But your topic, it's like, or your take on the topic is interesting.
My take on the girl with no shirt?
Yeah, just like the fact that you saw, like, my attention was mostly spent on watching the band or recording the band that was up on stage. So I didn't really see much of what went on, but I would catch like major events out of the corner of my eye.
When you have zero interest in the music,
wait a minute, she has no top on. Like, what the hell just happened? She's in a bra. And then exactly like you saw the same thing. They were flailing all over the place because of no good support. Like everything you saw, we have not talked about this since then, have we?
No.
And yet everything you saw, I saw the exact thing. Like that's like not even a little bit off. I could literally sign off on what you said.
So it was giving me like weird flashbacks, that concert and that specific girl. When I went to staff after I finished high school, and I did that summer where I was one of the staff people for that leadership course.
Right.
There was They called him the TOR guy because he ran the TOR department, which is...
What is TOR?
I have no idea what it actually stands for, but he was like the photocopy dude. And so he had no real role, and he was not super significant. And I don't think any...
Titan of Records. That's what we're going to
I don't think anybody knew his name, so everybody just called him TOR guy.
Titan of Records guy.
Yeah, anyway. He was super into hardcore music.
Nice.
And I don't know how much you know about teenagers. There aren't very many who are into hardcore music. So you would have the staff dances, and this
it doesn't happen until you're older.
This weird dude would he would request these hardcore songs.
Why is he weird?
He was weird.
Why?
For reasons.
What made him weird?
The same thing as the girl. Like, he would creepy, weird smile at you, and he was not very nice.
Well, you didn't make that clear, so... Good, I get it now. That makes sense.
And so he would request hardcore music, and then he would hardcore dance at the staff dances. Wow. And just imagine 60 teenagers and one dude in the middle hardcore dancing. And that's what that girl was like during the first band. She was just like having a good old time by herself, and everybody was kind of looking at her like, what the fuck are you?
I know, but okay. Trying to work some things out about emotions, and that in a way is you presented a helpful scenario, because what I saw with her was, on the one hand, I think to myself, look at this lunatic dancing like a crazy person all by herself. Mm-hmm. She should be waiting until there's more people. Well, why should she? If she feels like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we could start off by saying she's crazy, but she's not crazy. She's doing what she wants to do.
She was just weird, and it wasn't because she was dancing by herself.
The weird part it had nothing to do with being alone.
It was the looks.
It was the weird look.
It was the staring.
And she'd make eye contact, but like really brief, with this like creepy smile on her face, and you're just like, and
then
whoa.
She would stare, and she would stare, and she would stare, and she would stare. So you'd make eye contact with her like 17 times before she locked onto someone else. I don't know.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was really all very alarming. The people watching was kind of great. I think if you wanted to go there for a concert again, that I would go with you, but I would want to get there early enough that I could have one of the spots on the wall where the bench was, because I really just wanted to sit there and watch the crazy people.
I could see
fighting at each other.
I could see from your perspective how it would be like that too, because I'll tell you, it's something interesting. Okay, the way I got interested in the hardcore style of music was kind of like right before the 80s hairband revolution
Sweet Jesus
occurred. Music was kind of becoming the same old, and all of a sudden these bands of like young kids that like people mm-hmm. are in these bands, and they're like making music that has like meaningful lyrics and whatever, but it's just like a primal beat kind of a thing. It just like taps into your inner gut.
Maybe that's why it was more enjoyable with the earplugs, because I like the drums and I like the guitar, but this, if you want to call it singing, gives me a headache and makes me just not want to listen.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. See, like, that is so much more respectful than like, okay, I think the kids are getting to the point where they're realizing that they don't have to just disagree with one another just because.
Yeah, apparently they've started to agree on the music.
They're starting to agree on certain things. And here's the news flash, though. It's always been this way. They've always kind of liked the same stuff. They just don't let it on. Because you can tell by how, they complain about like certain artists they just can't stand, so then they make fun of it. But for the most part, they don't say anything about the rest of the music that the kids pick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just funny, like.
But so with the earplugs, I couldn't hear any of the singing, quote unquote singing. Yeah. And that was great, because I can't understand it anyway and it gives me a headache. But I like the drums and I like the guitar. So if I could just sit there peacefully on a bench and people watch and just stare off into space so that people would think I was a crazy lunatic, I'd be perfectly happy.
Oh, I get it though. And that's what I was trying to get at, is I respect your position, because you have, in my opinion, you have accurately measured that music, you set it to a standard and you upheld your standard and it came out how it came out. That's fair. I like that. What I don't like is when people just go, I just don't like it. When reality is they're like what you just said. The only thing they didn't really like was the singing.
Right.
I mean,
now that one band that
that's
played,
not fair.
I think they were the third one. From the moment, okay, so again, couldn't hear any of the quote-unquote singing at all. From the moment they got onto the stage to the moment they left, the drum beat was identical. So like 25 minutes of identical drums. It was tedious.
And the bass line was pretty similar, too.
It was starting to give me anxiety. Like, it was changing my heart rhythm.
You know what's funny?
Like, stop.
That is great that you put it that way, because that's what it was doing to me too.
It was making me. It wasn't the third one. It was the last one before War of Ages, and it was making me physically anxious.
People from Florida.
Yes.
Yeah. Bloody Sunday.
Physically anxious.
Now, I should note, we don't get paid anything for mentioning these people.
Well,
we're mentioning them
just
because
kind of insulted them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't. And I mean, mentioning them in this context is just to mention them because they're relevant to the story. But it was interesting. But the weird part is we didn't get done there till like 11:30, and by the time we got home and kind of chilled out, you got tired faster than I did, but I was still tired, and I probably finally didn't get to sleep till like 1 o'clock, and I had to be up at like 5 something because I had to take a shower.
Oh, you did take a shower. That's good because you smelled awful.
And then go get the Mitch, and then off to Santa Fe Springs somewhere.
Oh yeah, this leads us to Saturday.
So now we're on Saturday,
Sloth Day,
and we get there at this meet. I got to take Mitch to this meet. He's at an invitational, and he's doing this. He's running the mile, and then he's running this distance medley relay where they do like different distances, each of them. And he was going to run the 800 in that. So, okay, interesting. Well, you look at the schedule, and it kind of looks like it's not going to be a very long day. But the reality is, each one of those things has like 100 heats in it.
So you picked up Mitchell at 7, and you didn't get home till 5:30.
Yep.
No, you got home at 4:30.
4:30.
Because you had your meeting at 5.
Yes. 4:30. Then I had a meeting,
and then
I got off
sleep.
the meeting at 6:30.
And you went to sleep. Pretty much.
And then we ate, and then we went to sleep. But that was quite the day.
But
what did you do?
Nothing. I did.
No. What did you do?
I stayed home, and I stayed in my jammies, and I just kind of existed for a day. And it was glorious.
You loved it?
It was glorious. It's not. I don't want to do that every day, which was a previous thing in my life. I liked to just lounge all day, but it was great to have a day where like nobody bothered me and I didn't have to do anything and I could watch whatever I wanted and I could sit in bed. It's great. I quite enjoyed it.
I realized something on that day. Okay.
Did you know?
It made me think about your situation and like you're here, I'm here, but you rely upon me to get you places. Mm-hmm. So when there's stuff to do, like grocery shopping, whatever, you're kind of stuck with me.
Well, I could do it.
But you're kind of stuck with me. I mean, let's be real. It's easier for me. I could literally, if I decided I wanted some space, could just be like, hey, I'm going to go pick up the groceries. Bye. Be easy.
Yeah.
And while I know you'd understand what I was doing, you'd probably be less offended than by me just going, no, you stay home. I feel like the direct approach in that one isn't going to be the best approach. A little bit indirect approach is better. But anyway, you get the point. Like, So moving on, since we beat the hell out of that horse.
So what exactly
that brings us to
you said you figured out something about my situation, but you never really.
Oh no, I did. You're kind of what I was saying was you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck with me all the time. I could easily get away if I needed space.
Yeah.
You have a harder time of that.
I could figure it out if I really wanted to, but you're right.
I know you could. I mean, you're a lot safer now because you know the area better too.
So grocery shopping or leaving the house really isn't my idea of space.
Well, no, I get it, but for me, it's just like sometimes if we're disagreeing on something, just lightly, it's nice to like have a little bit of space to just like, deep inhale, deep exhale, and then go back at it.
It's what will be nice when we have a house.
Yeah.
Because there will be, like when you live in a teeny tiny little apartment, there isn't exactly a lot of space to do anything.
No, it's hard to do your space, my space.
Right.
That's next to impossible.
Right. But we figure it out.
We will. We will. We always do. And that led us to a sleepy early night on Saturday because I was exhausted from the night having to get up so early. And you were kind of awake because you slept, which is what I probably would have wanted to do that day. For sure.
I went to bed at like 10.
But
it wasn't horrible.
I got to bed earlier than that.
Well, you were asleep on the couch. But...
yeah. And then that brought us to Sunday where the time change happened. And I woke up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, which if you think about it is actually even worse because that means it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, holy hell, who sleeps that late?
No, you lost an hour, not gained an hour. So 8 o'clock in the morning was actually 7 o'clock in the morning. You slept an hour less than you thought you did.
Okay, if you say so. I'll go with that.
Okay.
But anyway, you get what I'm saying. The whole point here is you're kind of stuck with me and I could easily step away. And yes, you could figure out a way.
Dude, we'd already moved on from this.
Sometimes the space is important.
Sunday.
Yes. And so you made me stop as I was going to Sunday and explain what I meant about what I found out about your situation. You're like, wait, you never told me.
Stop. We were already talking about the time change. You'd already explained that. We're good.
Time change. I know what you're talking about. So, okay, let's start it back up then. The time change thing, though, happened, and then I woke up at like 8 o'clock that morning, which is probably my normal time that I would have woken up, but,
Yeah, you're usually about a 7 o'clock on a day where you don't have to go anywhere kind of dude.
Yeah, but
the dog was having none of it.
Well, yeah, so I woke up and, got into the day. And I don't even remember. We packed that morning,
and
right?
We went to the bark park.
And we went to the bark park, but we packed. That's right. Oh, that bark park would be another episode. We're going to
make that its own thing.
Oh, yes. That's its own episode. That one, okay. Watch out for the bark park episode. It's coming. You're going to love it. Especially you dog lovers, listen to the bark park episode. You'll never want a bark park in your city after you listen to the bark park episode.
Dark park.
Yes. Dark bark park. I'm getting looks from the DOG. She's like, oh, really? Let's go.
Dark park? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anyway, so we did that. And then we took Toryasaurus to her first ever XFL football game.
And I skewered my butt on an armrest, and now
first
I've been
thing
whining.
she does when she gets there is slam her booty into the arm of the chair.
And like 5 hours later when we got home, there's like a big old welt on my butt cheek.
And my problem was I didn't exactly know what to do because like it's not like if you banged your back, I could rub your back. I can't rub your butt cheek at the stadium. Not happening. So I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, do I acknowledge it? Or do I just move on? Or do I like acknowledge it and kind of then move on? So that's what I opted for, was to acknowledge it and just move on.
You were good.
I just didn't know how to handle it.
There to writhe in pain and peace for a second.
But I was that game. You want to talk about emotions? That game made me angry from beginning to end.
5 minutes in, he was like, "Fuck this, we're leaving."
You gave me this look like, really?
And then I didn't move, so you calmed the fuck down and then sat your ass back down.
It was
glad you didn't leave now, aren't you?
We were so far behind.
What, 24-0?
Yep.
And then the final score was what? 41 to
34 we won.
Yeah.
And the way we won was,
ridiculous.
with they were like on the 8-yard line with like 33 seconds left, and they were driving and like moving the ball, and then it was third down now.
He was so sure we were going to lose.
And I was like, we're probably going to either lose or go to overtime.
So we start walking towards the exit.
Let's start walking toward the exit in case, we either lose or they lose, right? And we get to like the goal line because we're like on the opposite side of the field where our seats are. we get to the goal line, and they throw a pass, and the receiver goes the wrong route, and our guy's the only one there and intercepts the ball in the end zone. Win the game with 33 seconds left. They just take a knee a couple times, run the clock out, game over. It was crazy.
So there was that.
That was insane. So that was our lunatic weekend.
And now I have a giant bruise on my butt.
And she has a giant bruise in her butt. I've heard about it pretty much nonstop since it happened.
It
but I'm going to say something. Hold on, I'm going to say something. But I get it because it does hurt. It's like on the days that my stomach has been feeling like a demon has jumped around inside there. I get it. You have to say, "Oh, it hurts."
The last time
that's in some weird way mentally it makes you feel better.
The last time I had a bruise like this on my butt, I was sledding and I fell off the sled, and the snow was disguising a very large rock that I planted my tailbone straight onto.
Oh, ouch.
I had a bruise for 6 months.
Oh, I bet. Those hurt.
Yeah, it was great.
I think, though, since you've been here, you've done something similar to this once before.
Oh, it was the door handle.
Yeah.
And it was my hip.
Okay, but I know something similar happened.
Yeah.
That's I just couldn't remember what.
And then there was the time where I tried to walk and failed, and then fell backwards, knee first into the coffee table, and then shrieked for 100 years.
Yes. That made me want to commit suicide. Just kidding.
Thanks. It hurt so bad he made me go to the emergency room.
Yes, we went to the emergency room. She was like... I can understand, though, like, when you look at it later, the pointiness of that thing jamming up in the soft underside of your knee could not have felt good.
Well, and then my foot was like all pins and needles. And so that's why, obviously, I lost all control of my knee's ability to stand. And then my knee banging in. I thought that my knee had bent the wrong way.
Yeah,
and that my leg was like the wrong fucking direction. And so I was like on the floor screaming because I didn't know if I should try to move my leg because I honestly thought it was the wrong direction. And then because I'm stressing him out.
Starting to make sense.
And he could see that there was nothing wrong because my legs were obviously both still straight. And he's like, why the fuck is she screaming? And he's like, stop screaming!
And then she like shocked herself out of it. She was like, what? Oh, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be screaming right now.
And then I remember asking you, is my leg bent the wrong way? And you were like, the hell are you talking about? Like, why are you so crazy?
You know what I love recounting these things is because you can now laugh about the parts that were funny without feeling bad, because there are parts of that are pretty funny.
Like, if we'd have had the canary, we'd have watched that shit in slow motion. Like,
you're right. We would. We would.
I'm pretty sure Yogi just stole something soft off our bed and did something very rude to it.
He's such a rude creature, but that was quite the weekend. We got quite the weekend coming up here soon.
Have we even talked about that yet?
I don't remember. I don't think we did.
That's coming soon. We'll talk about that.
Talk about that, and probably in the episode where we talk about the other thing.
The dark park?
Yeah.
Got it.
So, that's all I got for you, folks.
Well, in that case, good night, everyone.
Hasta bye-bye, Yogi. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.